Just a little bit background on Phoenix Sister Cities. Phoenix Sister Cities is a program that fosters relationship between the people of Phoenix and our sister cities around the world to promote friendship, peace, and prosperity. At the heart of all of our sister city programs is an agreement signed by the mayors of each sister city confirming the commitment of each community to send and receive delegations of political and business leaders, arts, culture, representation, educators, and technical experts. So this is in the spirit of the program today. And each sister city is supported by a committee of volunteers committed to the mission of the organization. And as a chair of the Prague City Committee, our goal is to educate the Phoenix community about the history, art, architecture, and culture of Prague. And that is a big part of what we're doing here today. We've done in the past, we worked with the Czech Academy of Sciences in Prague to present an exhibit at Burton Bar Central Library on the Czech scientists and their inventions. We've also presented programs on Czech film, music heritage of Prague, and its magnificent architecture. Again, I'd like to point you, if you would like to know more about Phoenix Sister Cities program and the Prague Committee, please visit phoenixsistercities.org. So it's my honor to introduce Mayor Zdeněk Hřib and Mayor Kate Gallego. Just a little bit of a background. Mayor Hřib has been the mayor of Prague since 2018. He's the first mayor both in the Czech Republic and worldwide to have been nominated by the Pirate Party. In 2006, Mayor Hřib graduated general medicine from Charles University. During his studies, he worked as an intern at Lingkou Changung Memorial Hospital in Taiwan. After graduation, Mayor Hřib worked for several organizations as a healthcare IT specialist and consultant. In 2008, he received an internship in the National Patient Safety Agency in London. Mayor Hřib has been active in the Pirate Party since 2013. He helped to formulate the party's position on mandatory vaccinations, anti-smoking law, e-prescriptions, and patient privacy. Mayor Hřib was also one of the authors of the Pirate Party's election program for healthcare for the 2017 Chamber of Deputies elections and consulted candidates and deputies in the field of healthcare. Welcome, Mayor Hřib. Mayor Kate Gallego is a strong advocate for smart business growth and investment. She recently helped to land the city's largest ever business development deal, which at $12 billion is also the largest foreign direct investment in the state's history. She's leading the city global status as a leader in bioscience, scientific research, and advanced medical manufacturing. Under her leadership, the city has also made dramatic advances in transit and street transportation. Equitable treatment of the city's residents, and mitigation of the effects of climate change. Throughout 2020 and 2021, an immense amount of her focus has been on leading the Phoenix through the COVID-19 crisis. Mayor Gallego is the second woman to be elected mayor in the Phoenix history and one of the youngest big city mayors in the United States. In November 2020, she was returned to office with the highest number of votes ever cast for mayoral candidate in Phoenix. A graduate of Harvard University, Mayor Gallego earned an MBA from the Wharton School of Business at the University of Pennsylvania. She was elected to the Phoenix City Council in 2013, representing South Phoenix. Prior professional pursuits include strategic planning and economic development for one of Arizona's largest utility companies and services in state government, including Office of the Governor. Welcome, Mayor Gallego. With that, I would like to ask each mayor to please briefly outline your city initiatives. Mayor Hřib, maybe if you can start.
Sure. Sure, thank you. Thank you, Akram. Thank you very much for the best spelling of Hřib I have ever experienced in foreign speaker. I'm not sure how you're doing that, but it's really excellent. Well, about the priorities of our city, first I would like to say it's a privilege to connect with you today. The discussion between our two communities. As a mayor of Prague, I represent the Pirate Party. Our party is here in coalition. We've got a coalition system, coalition system in Prague. with two other parties, and my official assigned areas of responsibility in this coalition is IT, the government, international relations, and EU and European funds. However, regarding the topics that are priorities in our city, first of all, it's of course the housing crisis. That's a big problem in Prague. Second thing is the climate change. We've got the recently approved climate plan on the level of the city council. Now it's going to the city assembly. And the third thing is of course the digital agenda. That's the IT things and the smart city agenda as well. And the last would be the investment into transport infrastructure. That means, for example, that we're building a new metro line in the city, and we are trying to finish both our road belts. So that is also roughly the topics that we would like to focus on in our international cooperation. So of course I couldn't leave out this COVID thing. We are of course concerned about the COVID management, including vaccination, of course. And although the municipal competencies in Czech Republic are limited, as the most measures, including vaccinations, are managed by the central government, we are trying to improve the conditions for cities and regions in this regard. So I believe that is for the introduction from my side.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mayor Hřib. Mayor Gallego, please.
Wonderful. Thank you. We're so honored to have our visiting mayor and to join us, and to thank you for the Sister City partnership. I also want to thank the Phoenix Committee on Foreign Relations and our Sister City program led by Rita and Rick for their work on this event, but more generally for making sure we have a stronger global presence as the city of Phoenix. I'm Kate Gallego, just under a month ago, sworn in for my first full term as mayor, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you to strengthen global ties and to help Phoenix come out of all of the challenges we faced in 2020 as a stronger, smarter, and greener city. I have had the pleasure of visiting Prague and had a wonderful time, but I'm looking forward to perhaps a return trip where we might deepen our economic ties and our collaboration. It's important and relevant to think how many of the challenges and priorities that are facing our neighbors in Prague are also true in Phoenix, whether it's building a better transportation system or more affordable housing. We are working hard at the City of Phoenix to strengthen our global relationships and our global brand as well. Visit Phoenix, which is often the face to the traveling public of Phoenix, is looking at their strategic plan and hoping to speak more globally and help improve our brand in that area. For tourists who often get their first introduction to Phoenix and then decide to make business investments. We are also at an exciting time where we are going to be able to grow the Sister City program at the city. Early in COVID, we made some strategic decisions to do a hiring freeze and to reduce some capital expenses. And that has left us in a position right now where we actually have a budget surplus and are able to think about what are the areas of greatest need in our community. We will be, among many things, investing in more affordable housing, water conservation, which is a huge challenge for us as a desert city, fighting climate change, modernizing our 911 response, including with more clinicians, and then continuing our global partnerships. The City of Phoenix is proud to be a financial partner in bringing the Thunderbird School of Global Management to downtown Phoenix. We are excited about the programs they are offering today, and even more excited for the big grand opening, which will happen this year. Thunderbird is, I think, to me, one of our most important strategic partners in telling the story of Phoenix globally, as well as bringing in global business to the city of Phoenix. We have a great partnership with them called Phoenix Global Rising, where we hope to work on global sustainability, economic ties, invest in key economic engines such as our airport. And it wouldn't be a Kate Gallego speech if I didn't celebrate the fact that Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport is ranked in the United States as the #1 airport from a variety of different rankings, including the Wall Street Journal. Even during COVID, we have continued to make investments at the airport. I had hoped I would be sharing with you even more European flights tying our two communities, which we will continue to work on, but we have added some flights, including right around the week, Cancun was so much in the news for political reasons, a flight in that direction. This week's big flight announcements was not global, it was domestic, but Southwest adding Hawaii has excited some people, and apparently they have $159 flights right now. So if you want to multitask while you're listening to me and book your vacation, I won't be offended with that. I'm a big believer that a strong airport and strong air ties help us with global commerce, and that'll continue to be a focus for me. Global commerce has helped us get through 2020, and it was personally meaningful to me that our largest foreign direct investment, a multi-billion-dollar commitment from Taiwan Semiconductor, happened at the height of COVID-19. I'm going to need help from sister cities and the Phoenix Committee on Foreign Relations and others to keep reminding people that we have to have more global ties, and that will help us get stronger. I continue to be worried about some of the political conversations that are perhaps less helpful from my perspective about foreign ties. From my perspective, very healthy to recognize we live on one planet together, and the more we work together, all tides rise. So we'll have a lot of work to do in that area, and I'm looking forward to working with you all. One of the great benefits of COVID, however, has been, I feel like I've gotten to talk to my fellow mayors around the globe more often. Early in COVID, we were able to convene mayors all over the world, and that was where I first learned about the testing program happening in Korea, some of contact tracing that was happening in other communities, as well as some of the solutions to the great supply chain problems around protective equipment. And I should recognize our Sister City program has been a great partner when Phoenix was struggling to get protective equipment and helping us source donations globally. I didn't expect to come before you to celebrate global relationships around getting masks into Phoenix, but friendships are there for you when you need them, and we ought to recognize that. So I hope today will be an important milestone in deepening our relationship with Prague, and thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you very much. Thank you both. That was a wonderful start to our discussion. You've already touched on many of the topics we'll be asking about. So I'd like to move to the first question, which you both touched on, in that both Prague and Phoenix are struggling with the effects of climate change. On an urban level, things like urban heat island, hot summers, erratic rain patterns, flooding, and so on. Can you tell us a little bit about what initiatives are you taking to mitigate the effects of climate change? And I know, following both of you, that you are focused on this area and have a lot of great initiatives that you already are undertaking. Maybe Mayor Hřib, can you maybe start?
Yes, thank you. Well, we are all facing the harsh reality in which an urgent action is necessary in order to mitigate the climate change. But however, this is also a significant opportunity. We should choose a proactive and ambitious approach. While improving our environment, we can then become pioneers in the transformation towards the green economy and more sophisticated ways of living. So we strongly support the European Green Deal, a strategy which places the green agenda at the forefront of the European Union's political projects. However, unfortunately, the national government of Czech Republic is not that committed to the ambitious climate policy, and due to that, Czech Republic unfortunately belongs to a slightly more skeptical countries within EU. However, Prague has decided to become a leader in the ambitious climate policy. So in 2019, Prague adopted the climate pledge to reduce CO2 emissions by at least 45% by 2030 compared to 2010 and reach carbon neutrality by 2050. So we have established a multidisciplinary commission for climate change, which has prepared a comprehensive climate plan for Prague, which is a strategic policy material with 69 specific measures, which will help us to fulfill the climate pledge. And the climate plan for Prague has been approved by the City Council last Monday, and we're going to approve this on the level of the City Assembly as well. And we have established the position of the manager of energy, which is in charge of improving sustainability of municipal buildings. We are planning on establishing a post of the manager for blue and green infrastructure. Apart from this, I'm very much aware that it's absolutely vital to invite the citizens into the debate on the climate change and to enable them to participate in the agenda. Because surveys have been consistently showing us that the public cares about the environment and fears climate changes. And there is still a danger of the agenda being very abstract, and this needs to include some steps which are not very popular, like restrictions for drivers, big investments into the new green technologies and projects which might be missing somewhere else. So it is crucial to translate the agenda into tangible and easy to grasp topics. As part of our election campaign in 2018, we introduced a 1 million trees for Prague in 8 years action plan. We have managed to plant 370,000 trees by now, so we are on the right track to reach the target. And as part of this, we are also organizing a public planting events. This enables people to get involved and participate, and I think this really helps people to get on board to a proactive municipal climate policy, and then it is more achievable to introduce an ambitious policy which is outlined in our climate pledge and in our climate plan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor Hřib. That was wonderful. Mayor Gallego, can you please tell us about what we're doing in Phoenix?
Absolutely, and it's wonderful to hear about all the action in Prague. Congratulations on the big vote last week. My father fancies himself to be a political consultant, and he always tells me if I could just do something about the summer heat in Phoenix, I'll be surely reelected. So I will do my best to do that. I'm proud to share with you that in the United States, Phoenix is #1 for solar energy installed on city facilities. And we are also #1 for acres of park within our city. Parks relevant to climate change for many reasons, but including natural ecosystems tend to not capture as much heat as you would get from pavement. The dark pavement really holds that heat in and makes it even hotter, sometimes called the urban heat island effect. Phoenix is trying to address that with our pavement, and we also now have the largest Cool Streets program in the United States, which is we have a street treatment with a more of a white sheen that can reduce heat by up to 10 degrees. Our partners at ASU tell us. So local great effect and you can feel that it is cooler. We are also using some of the more traditional tools on climate change that Prague is using. This year's budget has a significant investment in making sure we have tree cover, and that when we lose trees to storms or car accidents, that we're doing a good job of replacing it. We're also proposing that we triple water conservation, staffing in the city of Phoenix, and that we invest in a variety of projects to make sure we are managing our water responsibly, which is our duty as a desert city. During my time as mayor, as an elected official, we have experienced all sorts of different extremes on climate change. We had an incredibly hot summer last year, and unfortunately lost too many people in heat-related deaths. But my first year as an elected official, we had multiple 100-year storms. So I had constituents whose houses were flooded in Phoenix, Arizona. They tore out the carpet, they tore out the drywall and started rebuilding, only to be flooded again. I remember visiting one woman who had just brought home her baby from the hospital and said she felt like a terrible mother because she'd never had a safe place for her baby to live as a result of that flooding. So it was a powerful reminder for me that climate change has very human impacts on all of us. I found it stressful to bring my son home from the hospital and everything was working okay. My house was fine. It's tough being a new mom, and I can't imagine doing it after you're recovering from flooding. So we are trying to do our part. We are working on a climate action plan update for the city of Phoenix, which we think will accelerate our net zero goal. And we also have very ambitious goals around net zero waste. We want to be leaders in the circular economy. We want to take things that used to go into the trash and make them useful inputs into businesses. We have a great partnership with a company that's taking all of those yogurt containers we produce and converting them to pellets that are usable. We're having great conversations through the Ellen MacArthur Foundation with different companies who want to be part of the solution. For example, the inventor of the Keurig, those little coffee pots that make a single-serve coffee, is concerned about the impact of all those coffee single-serve containers and wants to help us pilot equipment that will take those single-serve containers, sort them, and help them become products of the future, and wants to do it right here with us in Phoenix. We know Europe is a major leader in the circular economy as well. So if there are any Prague-based companies that are looking for a North American outpost, we want them no matter what, but we think we'd be particularly a great strategic partner on circular economy, because with our university partnerships and our resource innovation campus investments, Phoenix is a leader already in these areas. So we want to keep doing that. Phoenix is engaged in global conversations around climate change. During my time as mayor, we joined the C40 group, which is top cities all over the globe that are addressing climate change. We are likely to send a delegation to the international climate talks, which are scheduled at the moment for Glasgow this November. We're obviously monitoring global vaccinations, and there's concern with any United Nations event that we want everyone to be able to participate equitably. At the moment, vaccine distribution is not equitable. So we're also trying to be part of that solution. And I've joined mayors all across the globe in making a statement about vaccine equity and asking that be a top priority for both our administration in the United States, but for global collaborations. So we'll continue to take climate change very seriously, and I hope come up with the amazing academic achievements and cool businesses that will help find solutions to this challenge.
Great. Thank you very much, Mayor Gallego. Both of you had wonderful answers, very, very detailed. My next question is sort of an...
If I can shortly comment on Mayor Gallego, I have to say that circular economy is also one of the core areas of our climate plan. So it might be an interesting topic for further cooperation between our cities. We also want to cooperate on this topic with our colleagues from Taiwan. So maybe this could be a very, very interesting area. Regarding the solar panels that you have mentioned, we got also this thing, Municipal Society for Energy, in our climate plan, which basically means that we would like to build solar panels on something about 20,000 buildings in the city, both private and municipal. So, and this energy should be fed into the municipal energy network. So the city should be more self-sufficient. So maybe that is also an for our future cooperation.
We would love to collaborate with you. The Phoenix metro area is lucky enough to be home to one of the largest global manufacturers of solar panels. And we also have companies that are trying to come up with innovative ways to help people buy and install their own solar panels. So we have a new sector, at least it's relatively new to me, called solar fintech, financial technologies. That's really growing in the city of Phoenix. And I think some of those companies are looking for entries to Europe. And so perhaps Prague is the right place for them to begin.
Wonderful. Thank you both very much. It looks like it's obvious that this is an important topic for both of you that you're focused on. My next question is sort of related to sustainability, and that's about mass transit. Both Prague and Phoenix made commitments to mass transit, and there are expansions and additions to mass transit in both cities. The question, however, is what are you both doing to help the businesses along that are affected by the mass transit expansions to do better or assist them to overcome any problems that come with that kind of work? Mayor Hřib, maybe start.
Thank you. Well, the mass transit has a long-term tradition in Prague. We've got, I believe, one of the best systems for mass transit in Prague, even in the context of Europe. And well, we are also improving logistics for delivery services. For example, we are building new depots near the city centers. The redistribution of goods by vehicles is more suitable for the city centers. For example, cargo bikes, which is quite new thing here in Prague. I know it's quite common in other European cities, but the cycling infrastructure was a little bit underdeveloped in the previous years. So we're working on that. And that means also we would like to use cargo bikes in the city logistics, because the big vehicles in the historical center, it's serious. It's a huge problem. We also support the city of short distances. That is a concept that would reduce transit and transport of people from the residential areas into the business areas of the city, because we would like to support the decentralization of businesses in the city, because right now Prague is a very monocentric city. That means we've got a single center, and everyone simply in the morning would like to transport into the city center, and in the evening they go outside, and that is not very good. We would like to have this 15-minute city, a city of short distances. So we are trying to support this during our urban planning process. Definitely, some businesses will profit more from having less cars in the city center streets, for example, the restaurants or the shops. And it's also a huge topic because tourism is an important part of the economy in our city. As I have mentioned, we are in the process of building a new metro line. It's the 4th metro line in our city. We've got 3 already, and we're building this new one. And we would like to finish the road belt, well, actually both road belts in Prague, but the outer road belt is actually being built by the national government. So we're just holding the fingers, but we will see. We also focus on the park and ride infrastructure, P&R parking lots for the people from the central Bohemia region. That's the region surrounding the Prague, something like a donut around the middle. So this is a thing that we have to also focus on. And we're planning to build new city quarters. It's a thing of revitalization, the brownfields. We've got a lot of brownfields in the city. Mostly it's former railway stations. We've got quite a lot of them in the city center. So we would like to build a new, nice parts of the city. And of course, we have to think about their transport connectivity. So we are negotiating with the national government about the financial contribution for our plans. And we also need to boost businesses in these areas.
Great, Mayor Gallego. I know we have a lot to say about this as well.
Absolutely. When I think back to my visit to Prague, I think about what a great job you have done building really active development all around your transit system. And I just have memories of being able to walk from the transit system wherever I was going to be able to go, and cafes and outdoor dining along the way. We are trying to do more of that, and it's been one of the great gifts, or a little bit of maybe a silver lining is a better way to put it, during COVID, that people have been eating outside and spending more time outside. So we are trying to update our city rules to make it easier to have these active, exciting patios and really vibrant areas around the transit system, which I hope will allow it to succeed, and something where we can learn from Prague. It was not long ago when our city zoning discouraged different uses at different heights of a building. So we would say we want one building to just be commercial or residential, and now we want cafes on the bottom and maybe something different on the top. We are also trying to support our great business partners during construction of our system. Part of it's being built right out my window right now, connecting our downtown with our south side all the way up to North Phoenix. We are working with the businesses to hire local and support small businesses. We also have some direct grants for our small businesses that are harmed by construction. And we are working with them on business assistance to help them with marketing or modernizing as well. So we hope to be great partners as we build the type of transit system that a global city would expect.
Great, thank you both very much. Turning a little bit to current events and the pandemic that we're still going through, it's been kind of the numbers always, we're checking the percentages, vaccination rates, that's all in the news right now. But can you please, each of you, tell us a story that you're proud of in terms of the city's response to the pandemic that we just went through? Mayor Hřib.
Yes, well, I have to say I'm proud that Prague has managed to maintain a different situation. Well, myself and my colleagues in the city council adopted a different rhetoric than the national government, and the one based on encouragement and trust in people, and based on data and good communication. And this has paid off, because Prague, despite of being most populated city, the very dense population, has consistently had one of the lowest numbers of cases in the country. And also surveys have shown the trust of citizens in the Prague government being considerably higher than the central government and not declining. And besides this, we got the data platform, a city data platform, which is open source, made by us or our city-owned company, which is very reliable, and it's showing live data about all the testing centers. So we had introduced information campaign about vaccination much earlier than the central government, and also other things that we have done. For example, the city of Prague was one of the first cities in the world introducing mandatory face masks. And Czech government, the national government, followed with this after Prague.
Great, thank you, Mayor. Mayor Gallego.
Thank you so much. In Arizona, in our form of government, the cities are not in charge of public health. It's a county and state function, but I'm so proud of our city and how we stepped up when there was a need. This summer, we had a very difficult situation in Arizona. We were #1 per capita globally in COVID, which is not where you want to be. And we had a real need for testing. We had people in the city of Phoenix waiting 8 or 10 hours to get a test and then weeks to get a result. It was very difficult. We were the largest city in the country where the federal government had not put in what we called federal surge testing, where there was the large investment of testing. Our city employees stepped up in an amazing way. So we had women who used to work at the library doing check-in for testing, our firefighters who have great medical knowledge but had not been quite ever asked this way, doing mass vaccinations. The people who run city buildings were out scouting locations for vaccine events. And it was really a moment that made me proud. Our community had a need and we stepped up, even though maybe traditionally it wasn't something that you would think of as city government's job. So that was a point of pride. And there have been many during COVID-19. Recently, at the beginning of vaccine delivery, Walgreens called us and said, we have several hundred vaccines. We got to get in arms in the next few days. We found a community partner, found a location, and found a way to get those vaccines into an underserved part of our city. So again, our city employees and our partners have made me very proud during a very difficult time.
Excellent, thank you very much. Moving on to another topic here, both Prague and Phoenix are very popular growing cities. What are you doing or addressing the community need for affordable housing? Mayor Hřib?
Well, maybe also Mayor Gallego should start some, question.
That is fine. Maybe we can do it. That we've been doing the same sequence. Mayor Gallego, would you like to start with that one?
What a gentleman, thank you. And I think this is a challenge that both of our cities face. People like dynamic growing cities, and we have been blessed with many people moving to our city, voting with their feet, but that's also created challenges when our average wage has grown nowhere near as quickly as the average cost of housing in our community. The Wall Street Journal just put out a big article this week about the number of people moving in the United States, and again, emphasized how many people are coming to our community. So we had major growth during the COVID pandemic, but even before that, affordable housing was a challenge. My council colleagues and I passed an affordable housing strategy in 2020, which has 9 different strategies, ranging from using city resources, including land we own, to using incentives to add to the housing supply and make it more accessible. Right now, we have the ability to allocate some dollars we've received from the federal government to fight COVID. And I'm hoping we'll show leadership in Phoenix, but I've also been working with some of my colleague mayors about whether we might not be able to collaborate regionally and all take a percentage of the federal dollars we've received to address affordable housing and homelessness so that we can have an even broader solution. We've had some great collaborations during COVID to get people housed. One that I really enjoyed was we worked with Central Arizona Shelter Services to rent out a hotel and place older adults who are experiencing homelessness in it. And such great health outcomes. They got better case services and were able to find better job opportunities or medical services or whatever was the particular challenge they need. The only funny moment or a little difficult moment is I went to visit and they didn't tell some of the residents I would be knocking on their door. And so one gentleman was quite surprised to find the mayor out front with no warning, but he did share with me, he thought the project was a great success and we should do more. And since then we've had some new collaborations, including one for veterans of our armed services in Phoenix with US Vets. So we are trying to build more and make it easier for people to build more, as well as, I hope, get people access to higher wage jobs that will make it easier to afford the housing as it grows more expensive. And our big semiconductor announcement and others, we hope, will help wage rate growth in Phoenix.
Great. Thank you very much, Mayor Gallego. Mayor Hřib, I know this is one of your main focuses on housing, so I'm looking forward to your presentation on this. Thank you.
Yes, the flat shortage and high housing prices is one of the main problems of our capital for the majority of the citizens, and we are very much aware of that. And improvement of the housing situation is one of the main priorities of the current municipal coalition. So I have to agree with Mayor Gallego that it is a multifactorial problem. And in our city, it's a problem that was growing during a lot of years. So definitely it cannot be solved overnight. There is no quick solution, and there is no a single solution to this problem. So the only way how to provide affordable housing is a long-term rational housing policy and complex strategy, including wide range of measures. So first of all, it's an acceleration of commercial development, support to non-commercial housing projects, and more efficient usage of municipal housing capacity. Because a lot of municipal flats were privatized in the previous years, so the city has quite a small influence on the apartment rental market right now. However, the city has been working hard, for example, on reconstruction of municipal flats, preparation for the new residential development in the former brownfield areas, and establishment of contact centers in the municipal districts in order to help people in need and so on. So, for example, during the COVID crisis, we launched this program for accommodation of homeless people in hotels, which were obviously empty during pandemic. So this is a thing how we are working on the housing of these people in need. The big problem is the financialization of housing, because the flats are seen here as a huge investment opportunity. This has got a connection with a very low tax for the flats and land tax in general. So basically, people do not require any skills or investment. You just need to buy a flat. And this means that there is a lot of empty flats in Prague, and also Airbnb and similar platforms didn't help the problem, because it allows you to change instantly any flat in the city to a hotel room. However, it's in the residential house, so it's really not good for the neighbors, and it also pushes the prices up. So this is a thing that we're fighting nowadays in Prague with, and it will be definitely a long-term problem solving.
Thank you very much. That was again this similar problems that we're having in both Prague and Phoenix. In that respect, I'd like to ask you both about the challenges for the future. What kind of a challenge do you see in terms of securing a workforce, the working population in the future? What kind of challenges do you see that coming up? And maybe we starting with Mayor Gallego.
Wonderful. Well, one of the challenges that's very much on my mind from workforce was on the paper this morning, which is as we grow our semiconductor presence in Phoenix, how do we make sure that we are ready and that the people who live in our community are a good fit for those advanced industry jobs. It's been really inspiring to see the collaboration that Taiwan Semiconductor's foreign direct investment has created in the Phoenix metro area. Our high schools are talking about how they can help their students understand semiconductors, get ready for these jobs. Our universities, in particular Arizona State University, is helping us produce the engineers of the future. We have both technical and construction education programs, as well as union apprenticeships that are getting ready to build this project, as well as a major expansion that Intel is making in our region. And so that has been very inspiring to see our education partners, our workforce partners, community colleges work together. Many of those individuals are going to go to Taiwan to be trained, and apparently that is also part of the appeal. Many of us, I assume, on this conversation love traveling, and the chance to live abroad is very exciting as well. I hope those global influences will come back to Phoenix and make us a stronger city. I'm also hopeful that we'll get more of the suppliers, and we'll also get innovative startups that these engineers help create that will take Phoenix to the next level. Beyond that project, we are looking at a variety of workforce issues. I'm a mother of a 4-year-old, and it was a tough time to be a parent. My little guy was at home for most of the last year, and trying to be mayor and mom was not easy. I hope that those past events will inspire us all to come up with better public policy to support parents. The city of Phoenix is looking at a variety of different investments. We may be talking about more childcare facilities for our workforce at places like the airport, as well as making it easier to get childcare while you're going through workforce programs. If you're getting training to help us with our nursing shortage, we ought to think about, can your family be safe while you are doing that? So the challenges of the last year, we hope, will allow us to make better public policy decisions in Phoenix.
Great. Thank you, Mayor Gallego. Mayor Hřib?
Well, the unemployment rate in Prague has doubled since the beginning of the of the pandemic last year, but it's still relatively low. It's 3.8% at the moment. However, Prague is a driving force of the Czech economy. It's generating 25% of the national GDP. And I believe this is quite similar to other states as well, but we are definitely facing huge challenges as our city economy is to a great extent service-based. It's relying on the tertiary sector, such as hospitality, tourism, cultural events, and so on. And these fields have been hugely affected in the last year. So we have put in place several measures in order to support these fields. For example, we have launched a COVID Prague. It's a financial support program for businesses. Last summer, we have supported the domestic tourism in Prague, like at home, to support this domestic tourism, because the international tourism was simply not possible. However, the main thing is that we see the crisis also as an opportunity, how to improve the way our city and its economy works. So we have prepared a new strategy for tourism. That means that this should generate also new work opportunities. We're fighting with the visual smog to make the city cleaner and nicer for the tourists. And also the climate plan also includes a plan for measures which will help to transform the economy of the city and will create sustainable green business opportunities, because this is seriously the next big thing.
Great, thank you very much. We're running out of time quickly here, so I'm going to turn to the audience questions. We have some questions that have been given. So let me ask a question from Andrew James from the Phoenix Committee for Foreign Relations President. What are some general misinterpretations, particularly among national and international audiences, about your cities? And what are some of the ways to correct them? That's a good one. Maybe start with Mayor Hřib.
I was hoping you will start with me, but okay. Well, the problem is that, and what we see as a problem here is that our city is perceived, for example, as by some of our neighbors as a sort of pop of Europe. And that means that this is attracting some sort of tourism that is not generally welcomed in the city. And this is a view of the city that we would like to change, because Prague has a lot of things to offer other than a cheap beer. And there is a great architecture. There are great cultural events in the city. For example, we have just started Prague Spring, which is an international classical music festival with 70 years tradition. So I believe this is the most common misinterpretation of our city.
Great. Okay, Mayor Gallego.
When I travel, sometimes because I am in my 30s, people will say, how can you be mayor of a retirement community like Phoenix? And I do have to educate them that we are the 5th largest city in the United States and actually below average in age compared to the rest of our country here, but diverse, people of all ages. People both domestically and internationally are surprised that we are the 5th largest city in the United States. People also have not appreciated how much our city has changed. So I was meeting with an Asian airline CEO trying to encourage the airline to invest in a flight between Phoenix and his hub. And he said, oh, I know all about Phoenix. I was in your city 20 years ago. And I had to say that since we've been the fastest growing city, we're changed a lot over several decades, that we are larger, more cosmopolitan, more globally connected, and that I hoped he would take a second look at it. So we're trying to lead with data, and programs like this help. The more we share information, I hope everyone who was on today got at least one useful thing that you might be able to share with your global connections about what we are doing. So for some people, maybe you didn't know we were trying to be a global hub for circular economy, and that will deepen connections, we hope, with Prague, but maybe some other cities as well, or that we are a leader in the semiconductor economy. We just have to tell that story better. That's part of the reason Sister Cities and the Committee on Foreign Relations can be so important. I mentioned in my opening remarks, we are hoping Visit Phoenix will also put more resources into telling the Phoenix story globally. We think if people take a second look at us, they'll be impressed, they'll want to do business here. And we're hoping to have that conversation in a big way in the next year. It's one of the reasons I was excited to connect with Prague. But I think globally, companies are looking at all the strategic assumptions they've made about their footprint, their supply chain, and where they want to be physically present. And we hope as they have those conversations that Phoenix will be part of their future in an even bigger way. So anyone who's listening, if you can be part of our ambassadors for helping tell the story of Phoenix, I certainly would be appreciative of that.
Great. Thank you very much. We're right on time here. So I want to thank both of you very, very much for a great conversation. This was incredible. I feel we can talk a lot more, and we certainly hope this would be conducive to developing our relationship here in Phoenix with Prague in a much more substantive ways. Thank you both for a very, very incredible conversation and information topics. Thank you very much.
I feel bad. I was the only one that got to ask a question. So my apologies.
Good to be president.
Yeah, right. For 6 more weeks and then back to normal. So thank you, Mayor Gallego. Thank you, Mayor Hřib. We really appreciate you taking the time. Thank you, Phoenix Sister Cities, for helping make this happen. And I encourage everybody again, pcfraz.org. We're putting on a tremendous amount of really, really interesting programs. And we hope to see you at more of them. So thank you again, everybody. Have a great day. I hope you get some good rest, Mayor Hřib. I know it's probably your bedtime soon. So thank you and take care, everybody.
Thank you and bye.
Thank you.